All right, what's up, everybody? I'm trying this again just to see how it works and kind of give you guys a preview of things to come. If there's anybody watching that doesn't know me, which probably most people do because it's on my personal Facebook page. I am Steve Strickland, and I am recently retired 25-year law enforcement veteran. Just wanted to get on here again and try to work out the kinks, maybe calm some of my nerves as I go through this. So today, I don't know how long I'm going to go. Probably not real long, but I wanted to get on here and at least give some content so that everybody I know who's been patiently waiting to watch can see some stuff. Right now, I know if you watched yesterday, um, you got the glare from my glasses from the computer, and it wasn't as bad as this because now I have a TV behind it, so it's monitoring. So hopefully, I won't have to use my glasses, and I can use the TV to read comments if anybody's commenting. So, um, in fact, there's a couple of comments right there. So, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. I asked a couple people to watch so they could give me some feedback. So, I'm looking forward to that. Didn't really know what I wanted to talk about tonight, but there's some things that obviously, as we get into things on the Blue Truth and Bourbon podcast in the future, we're going to be talking about a lot of different issues in law enforcement, things that I've experienced over 25 years, um, from leadership to PTSD and mental health in law enforcement. Uh, One of the things tonight I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a video that I found. I think it was yesterday that I was watching it. And it kind of goes to some of the things that are going on in the country. This one happens to be in Orange County, Florida. So they had an issue. Everybody's having issues with these street takeovers. It used to be where it was the ATVs and motorcycles were everywhere, taking over intersections, taking over streets, stopping traffic. And now it seems to be intersections where they're doing burnouts and starting fires and attacking people at the intersections and things like that. So thought this video was kind of interesting. And I've got with me today, actually bring her on here, a friend of mine, Jen. Jen actually worked for me, wow, long time ago. And she's been in law enforcement.
I mean, not that long, geez.
Well, yeah, I was a corporal at the time. So that was
Yeah.
at least 9, 10 years ago.
Yep.
So um,
Yep.
Jen's been in law enforcement. She's been in security at one of the major theme parks and at some of the resorts. And now she's been doing some stuff with different businesses. So I brought her on here just again to, like yesterday, if you watched, I had a friend of mine from law enforcement. And so, sorry, my nose is itching. Uh, Trying to get some people on here so we can learn how to do, or so I can learn how to do what I'm doing. This is the free version. The paid version that I'm going to is going to be hopefully much better with some things that I can do. Like up here in the corner, you see the powered by StreamYard. Not that I care that it's there, but that goes away when I logo in there when I do the paid version. And so, but yeah, let me show you this video real quick because it was very interesting to me. And this is on Instagram. I'm assuming this stands for no speed limits, or I don't know, NS limits. You can see Need for Speed here. I'm only going to show you a short portion of it. I want to give him credit for taking the video. I don't know if obviously he was probably there, but and this has nothing to do with him. But if you notice in this video, um, here you can see this is a Orange County canine, and everybody's around it. And I'm just kind of using this for, I guess, for educational purposes. You notice that the guy jumped up on the hood of the car, and these guys are just being surrounded here. Only 2 units right there, and I think there's several that, yeah, end up showing up here. But, oh, the video is not showing apparently.
Maybe you have to take me off.
No, I think what I got to do is go back in here and hit this and click this. and then share. And then let me go back to this video. And I'm gonna have to let it run through real quick, and then I'll rewind it again. But can you see it now?
No.
I'm not seeing it. Why is it not sharing the screen? What
Oh,
about now?
there you go.
Okay.
Good
So
job.
yeah, jump on the K9 car. Everybody kind of surround him, and in a second here, you'll see. I think it's a Challenger or a Char. It might be a Dodge Charger, but gets in the middle of the intersection here and starts doing burnouts. So, yeah, I saw that, and I was it kind of I've been involved in some of those before, and to me, when I look at that video, and Jen, you can chime in on this too. When I look at that video, and I'm sorry, I keep looking at the TV screen back there, so that's my eyes jolt away there. When I looked at the video, to me, this isn't a Citizens Gone Wild issue. To me, this is a leadership issue, and I'm not saying that it's a leadership issue just in Orange County, because these things take place all over the country. But I can speak because I worked for the Orange County Sheriff's Office for 25 years, and I can speak for the time that I was there when these things were taking place. And there was little to no direction to what to do in these situations. I mean, there was, hey, we're going to go down here and we're going to stop these street racers, but what do you do? How do you stop them? What do you want us to do? And you could see in that video, Orange County K9, guys on this hood jumping up and down. What do you do at that point? Do you drive off? And as you're driving with this guy on your hood, he falls off, breaks his noggin, and now you own him. And kind of scares me to think that, we're sending guys out there with little to no direction. And so to me, at some point, and don't get me wrong, because there's a lot to this. It's not just an Orange County Sheriff's Office issue. This is a legal issue, until the consequences become hard enough for enforcement, for people to realize, hey, I'm going to lose my car, I'm going to lose whatever, my freedom for quite some time. Until we get harsh on these guys, there's not much that anyone can do about it. But at the very minimum, you look at that car that's out of control or doing burnouts in the middle of the intersection, at any point in time, somebody could get hurt, somebody could get killed there, and there have been instances where bystanders have been hit by cars that are doing those things. So I don't know, Jen, what do you, I mean, I don't remember if we had any of those when this wasn't a big thing 9-10 years ago when we were down on iDrive. We had experienced that, but
I mean, we had the street racers that would come through,
right,
and then leave. But you did receive a comment from Andrew Frey. Says the video and many like it are a byproduct of over a decade of war on cops and zero respect for law enforcement. It's so sad and very dangerous for everyone involved. Sadly, with the new state attorney's office, I see nothing being done about this. True. And It is a lack of respect. No, they're not scared. They know they know you really can't do anything.
Yeah, there's no teeth. There's no teeth from the sheriff's office, and there's no teeth in the state attorney's.
And I mean, and that's a fact. They do what they want to do because they know you're not going to shoot them. Everyone's afraid to do anything because, if, like you said, if you do something, there's going to be some kind of repercussions.
Yeah, and so far, there's been nothing. I know of an incident that that I was involved in, where we kind of did a following. I mean, it was just like 20 deputies following this group, and we're not even really behind them. Helicopters overhead watching them. And you might get one or two guys that eventually land, and you can stop them and write them tickets and take their motorcycles and stuff like that. We actually, when I was in one of the specialty units, I put on my body cam, and we followed these guys all the way up Orange Avenue or Orange Blossom Trail up into the city of Orlando, and actually took them down at a gas station. Jumped out of the car and got one of the guys off his bike. Actually, everybody else ran. One guy threw his motorcycle at us and took off. But catching one or two of these guys is, it's not going to do anything. We really have to take a look at how we're enforcing this stuff. And really, it comes down to working with the state attorney's office to upgrade some of these guys on their charges, because these little bitty reckless driving and careless driving, and you can write them 30 tickets for running red lights, and they're going to go out and drive again. They're not worried about habitual traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, to me, and we'll get much deeper into this as I go live, and hopefully next month, January 9th is what I'm shooting for. It's all about leadership. And, and I'm not talking about street level leadership. I'm not talking about sergeants and lieutenants. This has to come from the top, and there needs to be, I don't know who the sheriff or who the police chiefs or who they have to sit down with. But probably have to sit down with some legislators and put some more teeth in the laws themselves, because what we got ain't working. And there's so many people out there on the roads. This was at Orange Blossom Trail, and I think Oak Ridge. I think that one was at Oak Ridge and the Trail. I mean, you're not talking about Bithlo. You're not talking about East Colonial Drive and Lansing, where there's nobody, or farther out in Christmas, where there's nobody on the road after 10 o'clock at night, or sparse traffic. You're talking about Oak Ridge and the Trail, someplace where families are still milling around at 10 o'clock at night. So I don't know what we do. I don't know what the answer is. At the time when I was over there, one of my suggestions was, hey, we got to find the place, especially when it was the ATVs, because these guys, they weren't driving their ATVs up from Miami. They were trailering everything, and then they were doing a takeover wherever they were. So I said, we get the helicopter up, fly around, because somebody's going to see where they start, whether they start on the Orange Blossom Trail and work their way east and then come through downtown and work to Pine Hills and go back somewhere else. The helicopter goes up. Hey, these guys started on the South Orange Blossom Trail. Hey, fly the helicopter around until you see a lot full of pickup trucks with trailers on them. And we go to that lot and we go, hey, this is private property, or this is, you own this parking lot. What do you want to do with all these trailers? And we just start towing cars and trailers. If you're not here to move your car, well, we're going to tow it for you. And by the time they drive, we follow them. And by the time they drive their cars back to where they park their trailers and they're not there anymore, all right, now we're taking people to jail. Now we're writing tickets. We're doing everything we can. We're confiscating bikes, whatever we got to do. But that didn't go anywhere. And like I said, the things that may have changed. I mean, this is a recent video, so it hasn't changed a whole lot. But, I just retired. Well, I left in October last year, and just, there wasn't a whole lot of direction. So, and like Jen said, we had the ATVs that took over down there, but I don't know, Jen, what do you think about, I mean, do you think it's a leadership thing? Do you think it's, that citizens don't care anymore?
I think nobody knows what to do. I mean, honestly, I think the top doesn't know. They don't know what to do, because everybody's concerned about what's going to happen. And you see the other video that's out there, when the lady's like, hey, there's a baby in this car. Now you have your average Joe citizen with a gun. I guarantee you, every one of those guys that was, hot dogging around, they all have guns too. And then now you have something really bad going on. And then that's when they'll do something about it. They won't do anything about it until something bad happens. That's the way I've been seeing it out here.
Well, I can't remember, I know it happened. And I want to say it was either on Orange Avenue or it was on the trail. And it's been a couple years, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago. But I think we had like a pregnant female that was driving a car that somebody tried to rip her out of or something like that. I don't remember quite what it was.
I think that was summer on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the deputy that was, or one of the deputies that was involved. And yeah, I think you're right. I don't know that anybody knows what to do, but I think, like you said, it's going to come down to something horrible happening before somebody makes a decision.
We used to be proactive. Now everybody's reactive.
Yeah. And And honestly, that's it. That goes into some other stuff that we'll talk about as we get farther into the episodes. Hopefully, that lends itself to along the lines of leadership, but the proactive stuff. One of the things I talked about in some of the little clips I put on TikTok was just that very thing you were talking about, is that when it comes down to it, right around 2020, when the pandemic started, in the aftermath of George Floyd and that episode, and his death, a lot of law enforcement agencies quit being proactive because these administrations don't want to be on the news. And with this, that's what it may take. It may take. I mean, I don't think that video hit the news that I just showed. I don't. It may have. I just saw it yesterday.
The other one hit the national news.
Yeah, the one with the there's a baby in the car. I know I saw that one on the news, and you can Google that, pull it up right away. I don't know. It's unfortunate that these, and it is a case of, like you said, these people don't care anymore because they know that there's nothing behind it. The cops show up and they don't do nothing.
Or they go to jail and they get out the next day, or the wonderful state attorney will drop the charges.
Yeah. And like Andy was saying in his comment, she's the new SAO, but she's the old SAO. And I think she's more concerned with, and I hate to say this, but she's got a committee that looks out for law enforcement shootings so that she can investigate law enforcement shootings. I think she's more worried about what the cops are doing, and in turn, like you were saying, is there's no more proactive, and a lot of it has to do with the state attorney's office. I'm more concerned about coming to work and what the state attorney's office might do to me because she doesn't like what she sees than going out and wanting to do my job.
And Scott made a comment and said, without strong leadership, priorities become unclear and inefficiency creeps in.
Yeah. And, as we get into this more, as we get into the episodes, I assure you that my goal in this is not to be, if you know me, you know who I am. You know what kind of police officer I was. You know what kind of deputy sheriff I was. I spent 14 years in leadership position, or a supervisory role. I was there for 25 years, so I was a supervisor longer than I wasn't. So I'm not going to get on here and throw a bunch of names out there of people that I worked for or worked with and badmouth people. That's not what it's about. Individually, at least. I look at things from the whole perspective. I still talk to people that work at the sheriff's office, and it's a sad situation over there. I mean, morale is pretty low, and it takes, like Scott says, it takes strong leadership to fix that. And whether it's, and this is not an Orange County Sheriff's Office thing, but a lot of admins, a lot of leadership, they have a passion for power. I said this somewhere the other day. They have a passion for power, not for people. And when you're not standing behind your people, you're not encouraging your people, the motivation is not there.
And it's a different generation out there too.
Yeah. And really, I'll be honest with you. There's not a lot of, there's not a lot of guys, like you said, the proactive part. There's not a lot of guys that are being proactive anymore because they've been spanked for doing their job and somebody not perceiving it well.
Or they haven't been trained it.
And that's the thing I was going to say is because of that, because there's not a lot of people out there doing it, the training officers that are out there now across the country, across the board, we have, as in law enforcement, in my opinion, has become more report takers than anything else. They take a report, they go to the next call, they take a report, they go to the next call, they take a report. There are, don't get me wrong, there are people out there that are humping it. They're going out there and looking for drugs. They're looking for guns. They're looking to put bad people in jail. But they're fewer and farther between now. And the training officers who are out there now either were not trained to do that, or have forgotten training, or have just decided that I don't want to be punished for doing my job because everybody has a camera and everything gets on the media these days. So I don't want to be on Channel 9 News or Fox 35 or whatever you have across the country. I'd rather go sit under a tree and do nothing. And so that law enforcement, that arena of law enforcement, of going out and looking for bad guys, there's not a whole lot of guys doing it anymore.
And Mark DeBona said, one of the sad things about some people with high rank, they forget where they came from, surround themselves with people who tell them what they want to hear. And Mark, I love your hair, by the way. Good job. Sorry.
Yeah, it's true, because, and it's cliche because we say that all the time, oh, you forgot where you came from. But, and honestly, some of them, even when they were supervisors, weren't very good at what they were doing. So, it's not that they forgot where they came from. They never had it. And that's not targeted at anybody specific. That's just, the fact of the matter is, some people are brought along way too quick. Some people are brought along because of checking off some boxes, brought along because of who they know. And that's what you end up with.
And we got Scott, leadership is a responsibility, not just a title. Great leaders know the importance of listening, accountability, and leading by example. And Andrew said, who's going to train the new cops nowadays to do proactive policing? It's sad. For many years, the war on cops, from politicians and activists, going to be oh my gosh, I need to grab it closer. Politicians and activists going to have a massive long-term ripple effect in what law enforcement we have as a country. Maybe that's the long-term goal of some of these anti-police groups. Absolutely. Implode from the inside.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with Scott. As a supervisor and as a leader, or hopefully as a leader, I don't think I was a supervisor. I prided myself on trying to be a leader. I always, if you've seen the movie We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, it's a movie about Lieutenant Colonel Hal Moore in Vietnam, and paraphrasing, basically, he basically told them, my boot's going to be the first one to hit the ground, and my boot's going to be the last one to leave the ground. I'm not going to leave anybody behind. And I tried to lead like that. I tried to lead by example. I'm here beside you. I'm doing the same job. I'm not going to go tell you to go do something and then go the other direction and sit in my office and wait for you to do it. It's important that people see you doing what they do, and not just being a micromanager, not just being a supervisor that says go do. And I tried to be that way. And Andy's right as well. It's more and more you see local governments, and again, the pandemic and the George Floyd thing, the defund the cops, defund the police. You're starting to see a turnaround now because they realize what's happened with the crime rate going through the roof. But there's a lot of departments that have quit responding to certain types of calls. All right, you want social workers and therapists to respond to those kind of calls? You got it. We're not doing them anymore. We're not going to show up. And the war on cops, like Andy's talking about, you have entire departments that are resigning. They're folding up shop because of the way they're being treated by local governments and city managers and stuff like that. People are just walking out.
And the public.
Yeah, and the public. The different groups that are out there running their mouths. And it all comes down to, And then that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Not only does it give me a weekly thing to do and not be bored at the house, but you know, people don't exactly hear about incidents from a cop's perspective when things happen. And so when things do happen in the news, I plan on talking about them on here. This is why, this is my opinion on this. Somebody gets, oh, why didn't you tase him? He had a knife. Why didn't you tase him? Well, because the taser doesn't always work. The taser doesn't always work on everybody. And there's a lot of things that go into whether a taser is going to work or not. So it's important to me to make sure that people understand, at least, the people that show up on here that are interested. The way we see it and our perspective, and even from, the perspective of the system, once you're in the system, your prosecution and stuff like that, because that's a big thing too, is, cops are very disappointed with the judicial system. I mean, you're talking about more and more where they're just letting guys out with a slap on the wrist for some pretty major stuff, and guys that have been around the system for quite a long time that still have earned enough points to go away forever that are seeing little to no results when they go to court.
If they go to court at all, because nothing's going to happen to them if they don't go anymore.
Yeah, no, it's very unfortunate.
It's just a different time, and it's a scary time.
Yeah, I honestly, when I left, I probably wasn't ready to leave, but I'm glad I'm out. I was tired. 25 years is a long time, and I think a lot of people would understand that. So, it's just if you're in law enforcement long enough, you've been around long enough. You've been there to see the pendulum swing back and forth. They hate us, they love us. They hate us, they love us. 9/11. After 9/11,
well, they always love us when something bad happens.
Yeah, we couldn't do anything wrong after 9/11. And then once George Floyd happened in 2020, we couldn't do nothing right. It didn't matter who you were or where you were,
And it wasn't only law enforcement, because at that point I was in the security sector, and that was during the NBA bubble, and right. We had issues with that. We had basketball players that refused to. My guys had to stand with their backs facing the basketball players, because the basketball players didn't want to see the uniform, because the uniform looked like law enforcement.
Right.
It was crazy.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that. And it has nothing to do with law enforcement, but and you've probably got them. But the Disney challenge coins that they have, that Disney has put out. Well, the original Disney security, the golden Mickey that was out there, had Mickey in a security uniform.
Well, that got squashed because he's not allowed to wear clothes.
Yeah, but I just thought it was funny that it was around the same time where, okay, now we take him completely out of a security uniform.
Yeah.
I thought it, and it, like you said, he's not allowed to wear clothes. So that was the thing, but it just it coincided a lot.
That's what they told us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So who knows on that, but yeah. And Andy, you're right. We do need a lot more open communication, and that's why I'm on here. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm really not. And I think I'm pretty sure that most of my conversations on here will be more focused around issues that law enforcement officers face. Like I said, if you knew me, you know me, you know what kind of person I am, you know what kind of law enforcement officer I was. There's going to be plenty of people that, as I've already seen, people that have jumped on the Blue Truth and Bourbon Facebook page, some on my TikTok. I don't know that it's there, but a couple of the people that are on there, it may be little agency spies out there to watch, see what I'm doing and report back. And I'm really not there. There's going to be people that, if you talk to them where I worked at the sheriff's office, Yeah, Steve is disgruntled. Steve is bitter. That's just not the case. I mean, when what happened to me, I went back out and I had the third, fourth highest stats on my squad out of like 12 people. And disgruntled, bitter people don't do that. They don't work. They go sit underneath the tree. And
Read a book.
yeah, you don't. I mean, I was in fights. Got punched in the face, and my radio taken away from me. You know, it's not, to me, it's not disgruntled. It's not bitter. It's experience. I saw what happened to other people. I saw what happened to me. I saw, and there's people to this day that, when I talk to them on the phone, oh, you got screwed, this and that. And to me, it's not about that anymore. I'm out, I'm fine with everything the way it happened. Now, don't get me wrong. I have my days. But more and more of the conversations on here will be about the issues that we're seeing, that we're facing. Again, things that show up, that pop up in the news, that type of thing, from across the country. I'm not focused solely on what's going on here, where we live, but looking out across the country and at least talking about things. You have the subway, the Alan Penny verdict in New York. Probably talk about that a little bit. But I also want to be educational and informative for any of the young guys that pop up on here, about, PTSD and the things that are going to happen to you in your career, the things you're going to see.
And how to handle it, because
Right. And that's the big thing. And
it's crazy out there now with how we're handling things.
yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. And I don't want to get too deep into it because I do have some folks that I'm going to bring on when we do talk about stuff like that, PTSD and mental health and law enforcement. But, and I just, I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, oh, we just lost a Polk County deputy to suicide. She's like, wow, that's happening a lot lately. And, I think it's like 186, something like that. Law enforcement officers die by their own hands a year, something like that. And, less than that are dying in enforcing laws, fighting crime. So it's something we got to talk about. It's something that you really have to, these agencies have to focus on, because when it comes down to it, they really, I don't know what I mean. I get it, guys. There's a stigma when you admit that, hey, I'm not feeling so good. Things aren't right. And you're afraid to talk to the agency about it because you're afraid what they're going to do to you. Fitness for duty, take you off the road. I've seen it happen. And, I was diagnosed with PTSD in 2022. 25 years of everything that went on, came to a head. And so I've been through therapy, and these agencies have got to do something about, taking care of their folks, because, without the people that are wearing the badge, the business don't work. Yeah, Mark. Yeah. 1,030 officers active and retired to suicide in the last 5 years. That's
5 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a lot of people. Oop, just ripped my earphone out. Yeah. I don't know what we do, but these agencies have got to look at it. I know that there's, like CIT and things like that, where we're teaching our guys to deal with those things on the road. But I don't think it's enough where we teach them how to deal with it themselves. And, it's hard for people to talk to people. And there's places out there that, here's the resources. We just got to stop losing guys to stuff like that. It's unacceptable, like Andy says.
And again, it's from being on the other side of the fence in the security industry. It's there too, because they don't really, they don't deal with it like law enforcement. They treat them like children. They treat them like the companies don't know how to handle it either. So it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And You know, they think bringing in dogs, petting dogs is going to solve an issue, something tragic. You know, well, we're going to bring dogs in and you can pet these dogs, when you're dealing with retired military and law enforcement people that are now reliving something they may have seen when they were on the job.
Yeah, and I've seen all across the country, because it's a great catchphrase. It's okay to not be okay. But those are just words, and you can tell people that, but unless you're showing them that, they're just words,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to reach out because there's still that fear, there's still that stigma involved, and nobody wants to deal with that because that's a paycheck. And you take me off the road, you fitness for duty, and I'm out the door. And a lot of these things are not detrimental to your career. The issues can be dealt with. We don't have to lose people because they're not feeling okay. You know, we can fix that. We can fix them. It can be done. There's resources out there. And so we're going to talk about that too, coming up through the episodes. We're going to have experts on in the field, and we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. So that my hope is that, I mean, because most of the people here that are signed up for on the page, I mean, I think there's already 200 plus followers on the actual Facebook page that we're going to go live on with this stuff. A lot of them are people that I know. Now, some of them are people that have been invited by other people. But I'm hoping that this gets out. I'm hoping that this gets to the younger guys, and you know, I want to be able to share my experience with the young guys, and have, you know, people like you come on, and others come on to share their experience, and have these guys learn from what's going on, because, you know, there's very few people out there that are in, you know, you may think you're in charge of your career, but you're not. There's a select few that are in charge of your career, and you have to make a decision pretty early on in law enforcement, whether you're going to play the game and you're going to be a part of the program, or, you know, whether you're not. And that, you know, has a lot to do with where your career can go. So you really have to, you know, I really want to reach out to those guys. I'm hoping that everybody that sees this will share it with some of their friends, and the younger guys come on. And not a lot of them know me, but they don't have to know me. I mean, I'm hoping that this thing blows up. It may not, and I don't have a problem with that, because this is just, you know, fun for me.
It's keeping you off the streets.
Yeah. I'm not out there running around being a hoodlum. I was thinking that today, because I went somewhere and I circled the parking lot for 20 minutes to find a parking space, and I was carrying a bag with me, and I was just like cops do. I mean, I'm going through the mental steps of where I'm going into the building, and I'm carrying this bag, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to get stopped, and somebody's going to say, I need to see what's in your bag. And I was going to say, hey, none of your damn business what's in my bag. And I was going to get trespassed. I'm thinking, you know, 1 year after I retire,
You're just coming to see me at lunch, right? Okay.
now I'm getting trespassed places, and I have, you know, my name's in the system for other reasons. So, yeah, I hope that, you know, like I said, this thing blows up, but it gives me something to do every week. I'm going to try to do it every Thursday night, probably about 7:00, just like we started tonight. I don't know if we'll go an hour and a half. Kind of depends on what the website. I know the website will let me do more when I start paying for it. So,
were you sidebar? Were you getting the notes that I was sending you on the other side?
Yeah, I am. You're talking about on the private chat? Yeah, I saw that. Like I said, guys, I'm going through. What all can you guys see? You just see this screen right here. You can't see my banners and stuff like that, right? My video clips.
I mean,
you're just seeing this main screen.
Yeah, I've got you on my phone too, so I can see both.
Okay. Yeah, because
trying to iron it out for you.
Yeah, I've got some other things over here where I can like click on comments, and I can see who's commenting and what they're saying and stuff like that. So just taking some of the comments here. That's why I'm looking away, guys. 150,000 active cops have been diagnosed with PTSD. These are the ones that went to a mental health. 1 out of 4 active cops have thought about ending their lives to suicide. 1 out of 4, guys. So we got 13 people watching. That means 3 of us I've thought about it. You know, that's too many. That's a lot. And you know, like I said, I got diagnosed with PTSD in 2022 September. And prior to that, where I was working, let me tell you, I'm not afraid to share this because my experience may help somebody else. But you know, I was a supervisor at the time. I sit in my car. I could hide in the woods, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I'd sit there and boohoo cry, and it was affecting me a lot. And I never, you know, I won't. I didn't have. I won't. I don't know how to put it. Suicidal ideations. You know, I didn't have a plan. I wasn't. You know, hey, I'm gonna kill myself. Um, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that there were times where I definitely thought, you know, my family would be better out without me. This world would be better without me. You know, the agency doesn't care about me. They'd be better without me. Those are the conversations that I was having in my head. You know, like I said, never had a plan. Didn't say, you know, I'm going to hang myself, take pills, cut myself, shoot myself, anything like that. Didn't try. But you know, you have those thoughts that creep in, and that's, you know, like Mark just said, 1 out of 4. That's crazy. Loopshire, yep, long way to go for Matt. So, and all I can say is, you know, I think for your son, and I had the same thing. You know, my dad and 2 of my uncles are retired law enforcement, so I had a good support, and my family, my wife, my kids, most importantly, a support system around me. So, 2019, 234 suicides. So yeah, like I said, I have my days and things, you know, creep up on you, but you just keep marching ahead, you know, and that's because I found somebody to talk to learn how to deal with it. Um, so, but yeah, like Al just said, and that's one of the things that I was. That's one of the things I was going to say. Is, you know, if you're on here, I don't think anybody on here is at that point because I can see mostly everybody who's here. But man, if somebody is out there and they need something, don't hesitate to. In fact, don't hesitate to reach out. What I'm gonna do here is while you guys are paying attention, Jen, go ahead and talk some.
Shameless plug.
Sure.
Come see me at Mission Barbecue in Oviedo. So I'm with Mission Barbecue. I do the community ambassador job. And the cool thing with that is everything that Mission Barbecue does on my end is geared towards first responders and military. So they do a lot of free food. Once a week, I have to go to a substation or a fire department and drop off some food. I've kind of been helping out in some pretty bad situations that have happened. They basically give us the green light to take over and do what we need to do. So we've got a lot of groups that come in and have get-togethers and talk. I get a lot of Orange County squads that come out. They hang out and have lunch, and it's good to see the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are all going to Gators, but you know.
Well, there's reasons for that. But.
No.
Yeah, and so if you notice, I think you guys can see it down there at the bottom. That's the email address for the podcast. So if you need anything, you have any suggestions of what you want to hear me talk about, you can reach out to me there.
You've got, looking at everybody who's on right now, you've got a lot of real good people that can come on and be guest speakers for you.
Yeah, in fact, Mark.
Yep.
Mona is somebody that we've already reached out to. We're going to have some conversations once I get this thing up and running. I don't want to do it right away because I don't want to bring him on here and not have the audience because that's definitely someone that I want a lot of people to hear from. So that's going to happen. And a lot of people that, you know, somebody that, and Mark Loopshire knows him. There's a former chief of police, 2-time chief of police in South Carolina, Keith Grounsell, that I'm going to be bringing on, talking about leadership. He just wrote a book called Leadership Under Fire. And going to be, once I finish that book, I'm going to bring him on and talk about some things. So a lot of things to look forward to. So yeah, I'm going to bring a lot of people on here. I'm going to have Jen back, of course, especially when we talk. I plan on talking about women in law enforcement and women's issues in law enforcement, things that you face. So I'll have you back on here for that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really hope that I get a good group going. You know, people that are interested in watching and learning and listening.
So
there'll be a lot of stories.
While we have everybody on here, hi Phil. Did anybody else notice him? Because we're just working out kinks. But did anybody notice when he would kind of freeze? Did anybody else see him freeze? Or
Yeah, did anybody see
any glitches anybody may have seen that we can work on? No? Yes? There was one moment you did freeze.
Yeah, I think I may have to get like a, what do you call them? Like a Wi-Fi booster to plug into the plug over here. That's close to where I'm at. So Michelle says no, but that doesn't mean that I'm not freezing. So she's up in there in the cold north. So wasn't sure if it was freezing or not. It was quick. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I'll get a booster probably over here, and because I know I'm in an area of the house that I'm not far from the router, but I know my son's room is right here by me, and he has some issues, especially, I don't know. Yeah, he's in his room, so he may be playing on the PlayStation, which is that can interfere with me sometimes because he's using some of the bandwidth.
And we need to get you that flag. Definitely a flag for the background.
Yeah, and I'm actually, so the way that I'm facing right now, where at this table that I'm at, is not the way I want to be facing, because I actually have, oh, my camera's on I was like, where's my camera at? It's on my computer. But I have a shadow box on the wall with my uniform and challenge coins and stuff in it that sits behind me over there. And that's where I'll probably put the flag, because this, you can't really see the logo that well. And unfortunately, and I don't know if when I do the paid version, it may let me expand this area a little bit. I'm not sure. So I'll have to find that out. Or figure that out, because yeah, especially like because it's a virtual background, when I move, I kind of look like I'm being projected on screen, I guess. But no, I'm glad everybody tuned in. Like I said, I sent a message to a couple of people, and then I put it out on Facebook so people could log in and look at it. And uh-oh.
What did you say? Uh-oh.
I got a thing in my earphones that said the sound card disconnected. So I was worried about that.
We could hear you.
So, but yeah, there'll be a lot to come. I hope things that I want to do, things that, you know, I want to bring to you guys. And like I said, there'll be a lot of war stories. I'll tell you this, just for the people to hear, and I'll probably repeat it on the first show, because hopefully there'll be a lot more people. Not that I care, but when I was getting ready for this and started thinking about, you know, the war stories, and I kind of went through every area that I worked, thinking about, oh, what happened there, what happened there. But I never realized until I started preparing for this that I bookended my career on getting shot at. 1 month, probably 1 month into being solo, I worked in an area of town with the numbered streets, and we got a call for a guy outside waving his gun and shooting the gun in the air. And so me and my zone partner pulled up. He pulled up in one end of the street, which ended up me up closer to the house. I was at the other end of the street. I was walking down the street in the shadows, and I heard him shoot. Well, it became quickly apparent that he was shooting at me because I heard the bullet whiz past my right ear. And if you've never been shot at, you know it when you hear it, because you can hear that bullet. I'm sure Al Matos can attest to that, from military and all that. You know it. And so I don't even remember what happened on that. I know that I didn't take the guy to jail. Somebody else did, but I I don't remember. That was a long time ago. That was in 1999. All right. So you had an 8-second freeze. Okay. We'll work on that. Try to figure out what's going on. It's probably on my end. Just the internet's probably not quick enough. So we'll have to boost that. But yeah, right. About a month before, it wasn't a month before I retired because I took some time off at the end of my career. So I left in October. Halloween was my last shift in 2023, and I retired January 19th of 2024. But about a month before we ended, before I left, I went to a call, was out there by myself. I was way out on the end of the town, and he was apparently had been out the night before shooting his gun off, started shooting the gun off in the morning. And so I get out there and I call for a backup unit who was already on the way. And then I called for another backup because he, been shooting the gun off. And he actually called in then and was claiming that he was being held hostage in his own house, in his trailer, by a bunch of guys who were trying to kill him. So at one point, once I get my first unit there, we actually approach the house. It's a trailer. And on the end where we were, just so happens that how or why he did this on the trailer, I have no idea. But those like glass squares that you can buy for like a window or for like a shower stall, where you are like an exterior window of your house, the cubes you stack on top of each other, and so it's like
bricks, glass bricks.
Yeah, the glass bricks. They're like, what do you call it? Like fogged over, so nobody can see in them. And we're standing there, and all of a sudden we hear these. Well, here, I think I got a. We hear like thumps from inside the trailer, like somebody's thumping on the inside of the trailer wall, and then all of a sudden the glass starts breaking, and we're getting glass fragments. I was like, I think he's shooting at us. So we backed off and ended up getting him out. There was nobody in the house but him. But yeah, I didn't realize it until I started thinking about that 1 month into my career and 1 month before the end of my career, I got shot at. So yeah, that was fun. They were surprised at how calm I was on the radio because I came up and said, County, he's shooting at us. People were like, I didn't believe you because you were too calm. I was like, what the hell am I going to get on the radio and yell for? I mean, people were already coming. We're going to get there. Well, they could have gotten there faster, but no. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I appreciate you showing up. We're right at 53 minutes. So I got some things that I'll learn how to play with here. So little sound effects I can play.
Do you have a mixer? What do you have?
Yeah, I've got a soundboard and a sound card and a mixer. So when you make your jokes, people laugh or.
Oh wow! Look at that.
So yeah, and I plan on doing a little, like I said, but bringing people on, doing war stories, doing things like that. So hopefully it's fun. Hopefully something people can take their mind off of things for a while. And like I said, January 9th is my target date to start. January 2nd is actually the first Thursday of the month. But I don't think I'm going to be ready by then, only because I got to pay for the subscription that I'm going to use, and I'll probably play with it for a week to get those kinks worked out, see if there's anything different. So thanks for showing up, guys. I appreciate it. Jen, thanks for being here and helping me out. And thanks for commenting, guys. I appreciate your comments. It's definitely nice to see that. This is why I wanted to do something live. I didn't want to tape it and send it out, to Spotify and stuff like that, because I think the interaction, the ability to talk to you guys directly, when you comment and stuff like that, I think that's what makes this a little better. And so I appreciate you being there. Like I said, my website is, or my email address is down there at the bottom for this show. So things you want to send me, suggestions, stuff like that, feel free to do so. And other than that, thanks for being here, and thanks for commenting and
Good job.
feedback. You know, if you want to text me or shoot me a message, Facebook message or whatever, let me know what you thought, because I want to improve. I want to get better. I've never really minded public speaking. This is a little different, just because I'm so busy watching everything. It's not like Joe Rogan where I have a producer and Jen helped out a lot by reading the comments. But I don't have
They were exciting.
What's that?
I said somebody had to. They were good.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate everybody commenting. So,
and I thought I was being slick reading them from my phone with my glasses, and I'm like, no, I can't see anything.
Yeah, and that's why this TV has been a blessing in the back here. And I haven't had my glasses on today, so I can read it on the TV. I can't read it on this computer. The screen's blurry. So, again, if you're watching and you know people that aren't, reach out to them. Recommend the Facebook page to them. What I'll probably do is, because I have to do some weird crap to go live on Instagram. So I'm not going to go live on Instagram. I'm just going to take this and upload it to Instagram. So that'll be there that somebody can watch. So there's an Instagram page, and there's also a YouTube page that I will upload it to. I can't stream to both YouTube and Facebook right now because this is the free version. So I can only stream to one. Once I get the new version, I can stream to 3, I think it is. So, I'll be able to do that, or the YouTube and this at the same time. So thanks again, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. You want to move me over to the other screen thing?